What's up, what's good? It's only right that we first spotlight our sponsor, Herman Hudson of the Hudson Mortgage Team, powered by Fairway Mortgage. If you're looking to refinance your home, do not hesitate to reach out to them. They are amazing. They have over 2 decades of experience when it comes to refinancing homes, real estate, and empowering you to purchase your home. Make sure to reach out to Herman Hudson by cell phone or email. So again, if you're looking to refinance your home, purchase your first home, you already know who you have to contact. I got Herman Hudson. You can contact him via email, herman.hudson@fairwaymc.com. What's up, Nia?
What's going on?
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I know you're extremely busy, so I appreciate you, man, hopping on. Thank you.
Oh yeah. Always.
Most definitely, man. Tonight's conversation, I'm super excited for it. You've gone through a lot. You've played sports. Now in media, I can relate to that 110%. So this is about to be a great talk.
Of course.
Bet. Nia, starting off, how did you get started in media? How'd that start for you?
Man, so I thank God every day for my mom because she was really good at not just, she exposed me to a lot. Mainly for women's basketball, of course. I have been playing basketball since I was 4, started playing AAU at 8, so you already know how that goes. Yeah. And I want to say when the Atlanta Dream first came to Atlanta in 2008, I just remember we were season ticket holders and I would always go to these games. And I remember one day seeing this tall, beautiful Black woman, and I'm like, yo, she's the analyst. She's calling the game.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, this is dope. And I had no intentions. I didn't want to be a coach. I definitely did not want to be a coach.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
But I knew I wanted to stay in sports. And so I've always just been good about, conversations and telling stories. And so thank God for LaChina Robinson. That is one of my biggest influence who actually helped me get into the field. And so, she was that woman that I saw as a kid growing up, going to these Dream games and just seeing her commentate and doing some color and all types of stuff. And when I saw that she could do it, I'm like, well, as a young Black woman, I can do it too. So, yeah.
I love that story. Nia, you played sports at a very high level. So how was that transition from going from sports to being behind the camera, being on camera? Because most people, once that basketball stops dribbling or the football, it's like life stops. So for you, I know transitioning had to be tough. So how did you pull it off?
Yeah, it was rough. It's almost been 2 years. And I'm still trying to get adjusted because I'm not used, when I have free time, I'm not used to it.
Yeah, it feels weird.
It feels so weird. I should be doing something because, I went to practice every day. If I wasn't at practice, I was training. If I wasn't training, I was doing homework. I was in class. That was my life from the age of basically 8 years old until the age of 21. So when you kind of have this controlled life, for a moment, I was scared because I'm like, what do I do? Where do I go from here? Because no one has ever taught me or told me what's out there.
Yeah.
And so I struggled because I didn't know. I didn't know what to do. I knew what I wanted to do. I had no idea. I didn't know what a reel was. Shout out to Cecil Hannibal. Shout out to my guy Cecil.
He's a good dude.
Shout out to him because he was the person that really put me on game. You need a reel. You need to join NABJ. You need to do all these different things because, again, in that moment, I went through a depression. I was really, really depressed because I was just lost. I didn't know. So eventually, I'm still getting adjusted to a lot of different things. Everything is still so new. I'm learning myself every single day because, again, when you tie your life to a sport, that's your life.
That's facts.
So, I'm thankful for it. Like I said, I'm still growing, still learning. I still have a long way to go. But, it's been a journey. It's been a journey. Trust me. It has.
I love that. And you said something that was very, very powerful about it's not taught. What do we do next after sports? And I know being Black and growing up, even if you grew up in a great household, if we play sports, it's this is how I'm going to make it. This is how I'm going to make my money. This is how I'm going to live the lifestyle. As you know, if you play sports, that's what people know you for. And then when it stops, your whole identity, it shifts overnight. So for you to actually have a goal and to execute that goal is so important. So what would you say for people like us who's young, and especially young Black women who might play basketball, run track, and not know what their plan B is, and media is a whole nother avenue out there for them?
Are you saying just for women who want to get in media,
Facts.
or?
Yes.
Yeah, so figure out what you're passionate about. I know for me, like, I'm passionate about women's basketball all day, hands down. I can talk your head off about it, you know. Find something that gets you going, and you should be having fun with it. Yes, it's your job, so of course you have to be dedicated to it, just like you're dedicated to that sport that you played. But now it's like, what are you going to do next? You know, are you going to sit here and just say, well, you know, I want to be on air and I want to do this. Okay, well, what exactly do you want to do? Because there's so many aspects to this industry that people don't even know. There's behind the scenes. You can be commentating. You can be sideline reporting. You could be working on sound. I mean, there's just so many different departments. So I say you figure out what works for you. Do these internships, pick people's brains, figure out what works for you. You know, because at the end of the day, no one knows you better than you.
It's real.
And so you got to be confident going into this thing. It's a monster. This business is a monster. And, you know, only really the strong survive. And so sometimes you have to take some of those aspects that you learned as an athlete, the mental toughness, the drive, the passion, the dedication, the sacrifices you have to make. You have to take all those things and carry it over into this industry now.
I love that. I love that. And again, I mean, you having that mindset is needed because confidence is so important. And I remember last night talking to Sheely, my boy Sheely, he was saying that confidence was so important for him because he'll have moments where he's having to work and still doing media, or he might be tired from just life. So what drives you to keep pushing? Because I see you on Instagram, like you interviewing Trae Young, Clint Capella, the podcast, still CNN. So what drives you? Because I mean, you already know, like the average person our age, like they just want to chill, relax, and party. So that takes sacrifice. How do you do it?
Yeah. Look, I love it. And I think about a Black woman was the person that inspired me to get into this business. So I have other young Black women that I have to show them. I'm a dark-skinned woman. I'm a chocolate woman. So
that's a whole nother level.
That's a whole nother level. That not just me being a woman. You got a woman,
and
a Black woman, and a dark-skinned Black woman.
That's real.
And you already know how society is towards us. So I have to really, really like lock in. And I have to show people better than I can tell them, because they look at me and I'm already just, who is she? You know, I'm a target because I'm a Black woman. So, you know, it's just about those behind me, because someone who was on another level is the person that inspired me to get here. And so I think about that, you know.
That's amazing.
Oh, thank you, Sydney.
I know, see, I can sit out here. I see you sitting. And last night, man, I was Sheely what he told me about mixing hip hop in, or just being Black on camera. And I told him, because going to stay together, taking classes at the same time, we will always try to put like our own twist on things, because we would have like white professors who were just lame. I'm gonna just keep it 100, just lame white professors trying to keep you in this box. And it's like, even with like this platform right now in the clutch, what you have at Georgia State, if you presented that, they would call that unprofessional.
Of course.
So seeing you doing what you do and making hip hop references and still being professional for young Black journalists, and especially Black women who are journalists, how do you make sure that you stay true to yourself?
Look, I'm authentic as hell. Look, I'm from Decatur, Georgia, born and raised.
Where is greater?
Where is greater? You know, I grew up in an all-Black community. I went to HBCU. Like, this is in me. And I'm not going to tone my Blackness down, or I'm not going to tone who I am down to fit society's professional. Because I'm going to tell you this, and 2020, we can all say this. Professionalism is a myth. Professionalism, it doesn't exist. No. You know, it was put in place for us as Black people to be in line.
That's deep.
To be in line.
That's deep.
And so for me, it's like, if I have to tone down who I am as a Black woman and what I grew up around, what people can relate to, what my people can relate to, then I don't want to be a part of it. because I'm not a black and white person. I've never been that person. I've never been a by the book. You got to do it this way. You got to do it that way. You know, I'm still professional, still respectful, and still on my grind. But I'm going to be me at the end of the day. And if there's ever an opportunity where it's like, I can't be me, then I'm not going to do it.
That's it. I love that. I love that. Because you talking about that is so important, because I don't think that people understand the power of, you don't have to accept every job offer. Like, I get it in media when you first graduate, like you want to get a job in your field, but what's the importance of us still having principles, being like, yo, if I can't be myself, it's not worth it.
Yeah. You know, you have moments where you're thinking of, okay, this is going to be an amazing job. It's at this, you know, Fortune 500 company, you know, whatever. You know, we always get, I know for me, I used to get caught up in the name, like, oh, this is da-da-da-da-da, like, this is so dope. But I'm going to tell you this, you walk in those buildings and you walk in those companies' offices, they only see you as this. They don't see what's in here, and they don't see what's up here. They don't care about that. And you got to read the room, and you just got to know. You just got to know. You got to read people. You got to read the recruiters, the people that you're interviewing with, all those different things. Talk to the Black people or people of color that are already in these spaces, and you ask them, how's your experience going? Are there any allies in there for me? Are there any people in there that, you know, maybe a little racist, you know, or just all those different things. And of course, every company may have those type of people, but it's all about you having those allies and you having a place to grow and learn and be better than what you were yesterday.
That's good. Nia out here preaching today, man. I love this.
I'm feeling it.
I'm loving it. I'm loving this conversation, because I was excited all day because I knew that it would be fire.
Of course.
And on that point, man, about being true to yourself, I feel like that's so needed, because I get tired of seeing us, you know, sometimes on TV changing our voices and stuff, trying to dress different, wear suits. It's like, bro, you don't even wear a suit every day, man. So seeing you, it is a breath of fresh air. And two, I think as well, a lot of people struggle with on-camera presence. So how do you try to perfect your craft? Because Nia, when I watch it, I'm so impressed every single time. My man Sheely, Cecil, like, I love just seeing people my age who look like me, who kills it on camera. So how do you do it?
Woo, it took a minute. I mean, I still struggle with it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, of course, you see my content every week with overtime. Man, look, you know how many times I do those videos? I'm like, Nia, again, it's hot.
Right.
But no, I mean, you know, like, it just takes reps. It takes reps. It takes reps. Like, you're not gonna be perfect. Nobody is perfect. And I think that that is something that I kind of went into this business thinking that everybody that I saw on TV, everybody that I saw on Instagram or Twitter doing these, you know, wrap ups or doing these breakdowns, I just thought it was so perfect. They're one and done. And that's not reality. Like, we're humans. And you have to keep that in mind. Like, it's okay to make mistakes. You know, I make mistakes every single day. I'm sure you make mistakes. You know, like, it is what it is. It happens. But it's all about what you do after. And again, going back to my experience as an athlete, you know, when I messed up on a play, what your coach say? Go back on defense, get your butt back on defense, and make a play. You know,
that's real.
Let it go. So I kind of take those perspectives of me being an athlete at that time. I take those same qualities that I learned, and I put it towards my professional life now. I made a mistake. I'm not perfect. It happens. Keep it going.
Mindset. I love that mindset. I mean, it's important, because if you don't have it, you are going to fold in life. And it's just that simple. And I think with you playing sports, that instilled like this killer instinct of, I got to grind. I got to get it. I got to get it. And Nia, I remember when you were working at LA Fitness and you were working and then you did your internship. I'm like, yo, how is she doing this at the same time? So another thing I feel like is very important is time management. During that time, I know you were probably super busy, but you were working, and then at the same time you were working towards your dreams, which is so hard for a lot of people, because either people, they'll be broke and just focus on the dream, or just get too heavy into work. So how did you find that happy medium somewhat?
I think my whole life has been like this, though. Like, my whole life literally has been like this, where, You know, back in the day, it's like, all right, cool. I got school 8 hours out of the day. Come home, may eat, may take a little nap. Boom, you're going to training. If you're not going to training, you're going to practice. You know, so my whole life has kind of been like that, where it's set up where it's straight time management. And so now, I kind of take those qualities again over to what I'm doing now. But it's all about not putting too much on your plate, but putting enough on your plate. And we have to remember that too, is that sometimes we want so many different things. And burnout is real. Burnout is very real. I've been there, done that. I kind of still do it sometimes, but I'm working on it.
Facts.
I'm working on
God
it.
ain't through with me yet.
Yeah, and it's okay to be hungry. Like, that's great. It's okay to be hungry, but always remember that you must manage your time. Manage your time for your work, after hours, because that's real. You know, I work a full-time job. I'm working from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. 5-6 days out of the week, 40 hours plus. Then I turn around. Look, this is my little setup right here. It's my little work setup. And then I turn around right here and I'm putting in work for my after hours, because what we forget is that, yes, we have these jobs. We have these jobs to help us financially. What are you doing after you clock out to invest into yourself and to invest into your brand?
Yeah, man.
So look, and then also we got to remember too, time management doesn't also always mean, oh, I'm balancing doing covering Hawks and I'm gonna cover Falcons and then I'm gonna cover Georgia State and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna work. No, including your time management, self-care time too.
Preaching.
Self-care is so important. You cannot be on your grind if you don't take a me time. You gotta have some me time. Man. Seriously. Because it gets draining. Like, I work in sports and it's draining sometimes. And you know what? There are nights where I don't want to watch a game. I just want to sit and watch. I want to watch Girlfriends. I want to watch Sister. You know, like,
decompress.
You feel me? You have to. But also remember your vision. You cannot forget your vision. You cannot. I cannot stress that enough. Whether if your side hustle is, I love to make candles, or I love to make beats. Okay, put in work to your side hustle when you leave your job.
God. Nia, man. Hey, we need a donation button down here, man.
Donation,
on IG Live. Donations. Dr. Umar, you need to come through for Nia, man, for real. For real, because Nia, I felt that in my soul, because I remember, you know, days from going to work and stuff, and people, they'll be like, yo, Caleb, we just got off work and I saw you on live. And I'm like, yeah, bro, because I mean, like, bro, we trying to get it. And I guess for me, I would get so frustrated because I would know people who have this dream, but you got to realize, like, it's not going to come easy. And on Earn Your Leisure, one thing that I love is what they always preach is that working 9 to 5, that's your first investor. But what you do from 6 to 12 at nighttime, that's going to get you out of your 9 to 5. So, Nia, like, how do you just stay on that grind then, nonstop?
You know what? I've always been the person, and this is no disrespect, but I've always been a person, I want to work on my time. I want to work for Nia. I want to work for me. I don't want to work for nobody else.
I don't like it. Yeah.
I don't like it. I really don't. I don't like somebody making my schedule for when I need to work. And I mean, of course, now that's what I have to do, because we have to remember sacrifices. You have to sacrifice until you get to that point. And so, and I think that some people kind of make that mistake where it's just like, oh, well, you know, F this job. I'm going to go quit today and I'm going to go chase my dream of.
Don't do that.
You know, don't, please. I beg of you, don't do that.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. I got lost in my thoughts. What was the question again?
No, Nia, you flowing right now. It's about that 6 to 12. So how do you stay like on that grind of, because we already know when you got to wake up in the morning, or if it's Monday, it's like, bro, I got to do this all over again. But how do you push through in your mind and say, I'm doing this for a reason and it's temporary?
Man, that should be adding fuel to your fire. I don't want to work for nobody. I don't want nobody telling me what to do. I don't want nobody telling me how to create highlights. I don't want anybody telling me how I should do my content, you know? And so when you think about, man, I'm sick of waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to this job. You know, for me, my time starts at 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. I'm missing out on so much. I'm missing out on Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
You know, I'm missing out on so much.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, like why? But
Yeah.
it's sacrifices. It's what I have to do right now because I'm not where I want to be right now. And we can't forget that because I think that some people get comfortable too. We can get comfortable. We say, well, you know what? We got the money coming in. Well, technically, I'm in the industry. I am in the industry. But is this what you really want to do? And so that's how some people get stagnant. That's how some people get stuck in jobs they don't like because you get complacent. You want the money and you forget the vision. You forget the dream that God has blessed you with. And I can't do that.
Man, Nia, we need to put you in a church somewhere. Get you a little pew. Throw some money. Start donating.
Donations.
Hey, donations. Donations. Tax free too. That's where it's at. But Nia, like that's really preaching to my soul. And earlier you talking about self-care, that's so important because all this year I've been terrible at that until this month. And recently it'll be days where God be my witness, I won't respond to any text messages because I just need to just breathe for a second. I won't respond to emails, nothing. What type of self-care do you try to implement? Because I'll play music and I'll just sit in the dark. I'll relax, no TV, nothing. What do you usually do?
Oh, man. So, you know, back in the day when people ask you, well, what's your hobby? What do you like to do? What do you like to do? And I might play basketball, like, duh, you know? But, you know, now that I get older, I didn't realize, like, how toxic it is to basically attach you to something like a job, you know, something that could be temporary. You can't really attach yourself to those things. So, I say all that to say is I found some hobbies. My therapist was like, yo, you need to find a hobby. So I'm like, all right, sis. So, you know, if I'm not at home, because I do work from home, so I have to get out eventually, you know, and of course, being in this pandemic, you in the house all these months, all these weeks.
Can't really go out like that.
Oh, God, it's so depressing. But no, I like to skate. I like to walk. Of course, hang with family, my friends. If I'm not doing that, I'm a really chill person. Of course, I love music. I really, really love music. Like if I could sing, oh God, if I could sing, if I could dance,
be over with.
You know. But I genuinely, truly love music. Like I like to sit and make playlists. I like to sit and discover new music and all that different types of things. So. If I'm ever having a bad day, music always really, really helps me a lot, push through. But just anything. I'm watching this docu-series now. It's called Hip Hop Evolution. So dope.
I love that. I love that. I watched it twice. It's hard.
I love Hip Hop Evolution, but just learning like different things. I love to learn. Of course, reading is so important. But I really am trying my best now to kind of just step away from technology as much as possible when I do have some downtime from working. But, you know, just find you a hobby, find something that makes you happy, find something that has nothing to do with your job or whatever it is that stresses you out. Find something that brings you peace because life is too short. Life is way too short. And if you don't find something outside of what you do on the daily, you're going to be miserable.
That's facts. Nia, you said something that was very important, and I don't want for us to skip over this. You said your therapist. That's a big thing because for 2021, I got to get a therapist. I've been saying that. So hearing you say that, that is big motivation for me. How has that benefited you? Because I know us as Black people, anytime we'll get hurt, our mom say, take a nap, go lay down, you being stupid. Or get over it, be strong. So what are some of the benefits from having a therapist, somebody who you can talk to? And also, is your therapist a Black woman?
Yeah, she is a Black woman.
Perfect. All right.
No, therapy is cool. Therapy is so cool, man. Like I'm so proud of our generation because we are really, really breaking some barriers, man. And we are normalizing this now because growing up, you know, I'm sure from your parents' generation, my mom's generation, my grandparents' generation, you know, it was kind of just, shh, don't talk about it no more. And so we as humans, if we don't talk about things, we create problems in our minds. And sometimes things aren't what you think it is. But if it goes not talked about, then guess what? You're going to struggle with it. And so for years, I didn't know nothing about no therapy. Like, what? But it's such a beautiful thing, Caleb, because I have been able to talk about things from my childhood or, the ups and downs with basketball. And, I didn't even realize I had suffered from PTSD at one point. When I stopped playing basketball, I suffered from PTSD. Yes. Wow. I've never really told anybody this. But
probably
hey,
waking up in cold sweats, thinking that you slept past training sessions.
Yes. I stopped playing basketball in 2018, and I struggled. I would wake up panicking at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. I remember one morning it was like 9 o'clock, and this is like directly after the season ended. I want to say like this was like the last month of school before I went back home for the summer. And I woke up and I was screaming. I was like, oh my God, I'm late to practice. And I'm like rushing. And so I'm running out the door and I'm banging on my teammate's door because I always wake her up. And she opens the door. She's like, Nia, what are you talking about? And I was just so, my mind was so clouded because I thought that I was late to practice. And I had a very strict coach. So I was scared. Because if you late to practice,
you better get ready for them suicides, huh?
Like, what? But no, I had suffered from PTSD for it stopped maybe. Really, I had to get busy again. And so I started therapy March 2020, and I talked to her about it. And I didn't even know at the time it was PTSD. I talked to her about it because I had so many triggers. Caleb. I had triggers and I didn't even know.
Man.
And so I talked to her about it and she's like, Nia, it sounds like you're suffering from some PTSD. I'm like, me? PTSD? When I think about PTSD, I think about like something traumatic happening. Like, I'm scared of guns, or you hear about, retired vets suffering from PTSD and all that stuff. So I didn't realize that it can happen in any little thing. And so now I'm still working at it. There are still moments that I do have some trigger points. Learning your triggers is very important too. Learning your triggers is so important. And so now, I write everything down that triggers me. I have a journal. You ain't got a journal, please get a journal. But yeah, no, therapy has helped me tremendously.
Nia, you are on it. That is amazing, because hearing somebody say that, my age, who looks like me, talks like me, walks like me, saying, I write this down, I had PTSD, and still be standing, that is very commendable. So shout out to you for real, Nia, on that, for real.
Thank you.
Nia, I know that you have a lot on your plate with the podcast, overtime, CNN. I know I'm probably missing something, so forgive me, but you're doing a lot. And I know that raises a lot of anxiety, and that's what people don't understand. Like, for creators, if you create content and if you're in media, you always have to think of new ideas, new editing styles, new people to interview. How I'm going to talk to this person, how am I going to interview this person? That can raise a lot of anxiety. So how do you stay calm?
I talk to myself. I do. I talk to myself. And sometimes like I have to get up, walk away, breathe a little bit, drink some water. I get the hell off of social media because social media, sometimes it can really influence the way you think, because you're looking at so-and-so's content and you're like, damn, my content is not that good.
That's real.
You compare yourself. And so I stopped doing that. I used to do that a lot, where I would be scared to put out content because I'm like, I don't think it's that good. But we all have to remember, we all have to start somewhere. And if you don't put yourself out there, you're never going to get past that. You're never going to get past that. So yes, self-talk. There you go. Self-talk. I listen to my music. I put on my Jill Scott. I put on my Erykah Badu. I gotta put on my soul playlist because it just calms me. It soothes me. And sometimes I might just say, you know what, tonight is not my night. I'm not feeling creative, and you cannot force it. That's another thing. If you are creative, you cannot force when your creative juices are coming.
That's
you have to be in the right mindset.
Yeah.
Your mind, your body, your spirit, your soul has to be in the right place in order for you to create what you're envisioning. But if your mind is clouded, if you're stressed, if you are having a bad day or anything of that sort, you're not going to create what you want to create.
God is talking through you tonight, Nia, man.
He
For real.
is.
Like, I ain't even trying to be funny because with Sid, you know, as I told you, Sid, she edits all of my content.
Yeah,
It's not
shout
me.
out to
I'm trash
Sid.
at it.
Yeah.
But she would like tell me some days, Caleb, today's just not the day. I'm not feeling it. But then some nights she'll be like, yo, I'm about to go crazy. So you saying that, I can really feel that. And Nia, like, how do you try to stay in tune? Because being creative, people don't understand. Like, you really have to understand like what's going on, what type of trends are happening, who's editing. So who do you study sometimes?
Ooh, I study a lot of different people. I study. So of course, like the long-term goal for me is to get into directing and producing sports documentaries, a lot of stuff. One of my favorite directors, amazing black man, Ezra Edelman. I am really, really huge. I love Issa Rae. I'm a huge, huge fan. Oh my gosh, Issa Rae, if you out there, girl, I love you. But you know what I do? I go all the way back to all of her, like her old stuff when she was on Awkward Black Girl.
See the journey.
And yes, and you know what I love about her, because I know when most people make it, they kind of delete all of their old stuff. Her, she has not deleted not one single thing. And I go back and I rewatch some of her stuff. I watch a lot of her YouTube on Issa Rae Presents, and I just listen to the testimonies. What else? I study a lot of videographers. A lot of people who do highlight tapes and stuff like that. Like, that's not my ultimate goal to do, but I do watch what they kind of do and see what they do. Gosh, I can't even think of who at the top of my mind. But there's so many people that I follow on Twitter and Instagram. Like, the thing about it is I'm very selective about who I follow, because you got to remember what you're putting, what you put, everything that you see on social media is going into your mind. And social media can be very toxic. Yeah. And it's up to you to make sure it's not toxic for you. And so what I do is, you know, I've there's so many amazing creatives that I follow on Twitter. Oh my gosh, Twitter. I get so many ideas from Twitter. Shout out to Twitter. But sometimes I just be on YouTube and I just let my playlist just go. And I just learn. And I get inspired by watching other people's stuff.
Yeah. Do you feel like when you're studying other people's content, other podcasts, videographers, on their personalities, does it feel like you're somewhat watching film?
Yes.
How it is in sports?
Yes, exactly.
I always wanted that.
Yes.
I wanted that. Yeah. Yep. I feel that. I figured.
Yeah. That's what helped me a lot.
So really, sports is still instilled inside of you. Yeah.
For sure. It ain't going nowhere.
I love that. Speaking on sports in the Clutch podcast, I love it. I tune in all the time. How did that get started? You even having a podcast and still managing all the million other things that you have going on. How'd that get started?
Yeah, so shout out to my amazing co-host, my twin, Malik Brown. I saw him in here. But so Malik and I, we actually intern with Crush Sports Talk. We still, of course, do content for them and all that good stuff, but we really work well together, you know. Like, that's literally like someone, I've always said that's someone that I would want to do business with. That's someone I would want to start a podcast with or a radio show with, because we just click. Very good person, very hardworking, one of the best people I know in this business. And so when we were interning at Crush, you know, just watching them every Tuesday, I think it was like every Monday. I know I was in there every Tuesday and Friday, or Tuesday and Thursday, one of those days. And just sit and watch our mentors do their show, and they would have fun. And that's because they had that chemistry, and you can't find that in everybody, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I found that in Malik. And I said, you know what, Malik? I said, we need to start something. And we had just been talking about it for months. Then the pandemic happened. You know what we did? We invested in ourselves. And ever since then, you know, Malik works, I work. We got so many different things going. We're covering games every weekend or every week. But we are still dedicated to In the Clutch. That is our baby. because we really have the time to really just be ourselves and
Yeah.
being able to talk about what we love and what we do on the daily basis from, of course, sports, music, all that good stuff. So yeah. It's been fun. I love it.
I love it. Nia, I remember when I came onto the show, and I think I already told y'all this, I was so impressed, and y'all actually inspired me. I started getting ideas about equipment, how, I was going to start filming, I'm going to get in person, and seeing you guys be so professional and have everything set up was amazing. So I think that brings up a really good point about the importance of doing your homework as a journalist when it comes to a podcast, anything, of knowing what type of equipment you should have, the setup, the aesthetic. So how do you feel about that, Nia?
Look, ask questions. Ask questions. Like, it's okay. I am one of those people, I ask a lot of questions.
I'm that way too.
Because I want to know. This is so cool. Like, you've inspired me. And if I ask you a lot of questions, that means you really inspired me and that I should be picking your brain. So don't be afraid to ask. And if you meet somebody who doesn't want to tell you, then that's on them. But ask questions. Be organized. You have to be organized. And you cannot just say, oh, I'm going to go cover Falcons. You don't know what the Falcons did last game. You don't even know the score. You don't know much. And that's why I say, no, you don't have to know every single thing. And I think people forget that too. I'm not a know-it-all. I know what I know. If I don't know it, I'm going to ask you and I'm going to learn from you. And that's just how it is. But we got too much pride sometimes. People got too much pride. They don't want to seem like, oh, but you have to be a student of the game. You got to be a student of the game, always and forever. And I've always been a student of the game. And like I said before, everything I learned from basketball, I take it over into my professional life now. And so you ask, you be organized, you break it down, like whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that you're successful in whatever you do.
That's good. That's good stuff, Nia. And y'all are so consistent. And I love seeing people with a podcast who are consistent, because my biggest pet peeve is when people want to start a podcast and they don't understand the work that goes behind it. And as you know, it's a lot of editing. People, they don't even understand when y'all post just a highlight clip. You had to find a clip in an hour-long interview and post that clip. And that clip, that has to be edited properly. The audio has to be right. The background music has to be right. It's so many intricacies and all these crazy things that have to go right. Sometimes exporting sucks. Wi-Fi, it's a lot that goes into it. Editing, audio. Because I remember when I came on, I was like, yo, what type of audio transmitter is that? Because you just got to have so many different things. So what do you think about people, or what should people expect before starting a podcast?
Look, it's a lot of work, okay? And you got to be dedicated to it. Before we even got the studio, Caleb, so you ain't know in the clutch before the studio.
In the clutch, Zoom.
We were on Zoom.
Yeah.
And you know who was editing everything? Me. So, thankfully I didn't have a job. I was, furloughed at the time. So, it's fun. But I was up because me and Malik, golly, we can talk. We can really goddamn talk. And so imagine editing an hour. I think we've gotten so much better. I think when we first started out, we were going an hour and 30. But we had a lot to talk about. We had fun. So, there could be times where Malik may crash or something. His Wi-Fi may be bad, or my Wi-Fi may be bad, or, we always just made sure, we learn a lesson after every single episode. Make sure you're recording on your end. I'm recording on my end, because if something happens, at least somebody has something, and I have to redo everything. But it's a lot of work because, you have to treat this, and that's what I do. I treat this like it's a radio show. So you get you a rundown. Me and Malik, we have a rundown every single week. And we're sending each other tweets on Twitter or topics or storylines or headlines, whatever it is, we're sending it back and forth to each other. I think we should talk about this. I think we should talk about that. Okay, where are we putting this? Are we putting this in the clutch? What are we going to do? What are we going to take out? What are we going to do? You got to make sure that you are on top of that. You can't just wake up and just say, you know what, I'm about to do a podcast today and just talk about sports. It doesn't work that way.
Talk about it.
It doesn't work that way. And we're in a different, era now where everybody has a podcast.
Yeah.
But
saturated. Yeah.
Yeah, it sure is. But it's about who is going to stay consistent stay patient,
Mm.
and put in the work, because
Mm.
that is key. A lot of people give up very quickly because they don't realize how much work it is. They don't respect the grind or respect the hustle.
Ooh. Donations, 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 please. Please. Nia. Matter of fact, drop your Cash App name real quick. Please, please. So y'all can
Oh
donate to Nia.
man.
Hey, she deserves this, man. She's been going in tonight because y'all are getting a free consultation. Hope that y'all know that.
You know.
Nia, I had someone on the podcast, David Shans. I think
Okay.
David Shans stays I think
David,
around
you
Cobb,
good.
but David, man, he's been like blowing up recently. His IG follows like 100,000. His podcast, he started posting it more.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember he said something that was so important. He was saying that what people have to realize when you first start a podcast, it's okay if you don't have 1,000 views every episode. It's okay even if you don't have 100 views every episode. And for himself, it was starting off really, really slow. Like, I didn't even know that for his podcast, he was doing it for like 4 years. And the 4th year, on his 53rd video, or I think his 53rd episode, it went viral. And he said from that going viral, he went from like, I'm not kidding, he went from like 15K subs to like 60. And he was saying that from him posting 52 other episodes, although it wasn't getting big traction, the moment number 53 went viral, everybody saw that he had a library, and they started watching 1 through 52, and that started going viral. And then the views started going up, and he made like 7,000 in 1 month off of YouTube, just from
Wow.
making those other videos. And at first, nobody was even tuning in, but because he was consistent and because he kept doing it, it was able to just go crazy.
Yeah.
So with you having a podcast, nobody talks about what it feels like sometimes. If you post it, it's like, dang, bro, I thought like this was the one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
how do you keep going? Because people, they don't realize that, like, even if it gets like 100 views, you know, you could be saying, yo, this is worth like 1,000. So how do you keep going?
Yeah, so you know, me and Malik, we're kind of very similar. We're not like, I know for me and I know for Malik, we don't really get caught up. Like, of course, the numbers are great. We want to keep growing and build a large audience. And maybe that's something we got to work on, is being a little bit more aggressive. But for me, like, of course, like, we put stuff out, we like, yo, like, why are we still at 39 subscribers? Like, I think
Algorithms trash.
you know, like,
Yeah.
I think me and Malik, God, I think we're at like 61 subscribers right now.
62. I
62.
saw that.
Okay.
Hey, y'all almost at 100. And that's a big accomplishment though, Nia. I'm telling you. That's big.
Yes. And so, you know, I always have to put in the back of my mind, because there are moments where I'll put something out, I'm like, yo, this is about to go crazy.
It's the one.
It's the one. And then you get on there, you like, hold up, wait a minute. I don't think everybody saw it.
Yeah.
But you just have to remember, man, like, why you started, and not get caught up in it, because if you do, you're gonna be discouraged and you're gonna give up. Simple. So, you know, go continue to do it, because there are people that support you, whether it's one person, 2 people, 3 people, whoever it is. Keep going, because those 3 people could turn into 300 people, and then those 300 could turn into 3,000, 3 million, all that stuff. Like Bree said, trust the process. Yes, you must trust the process. And you can't get caught up in that type of stuff, because honestly, being a creative and putting yourself out there is a lot already. It's a lot. So when you do it, like, that's courage. It's putting yourself out on the internet, because there's so many people on the internet that can watch you today. But you know, of course, like, we make it our goal. Like, Malik has really been killing it on Twitter. Like, I think we're almost to 1,000 followers now. If not, we are.
That's crazy.
But just putting in work, just following people and sharing your stuff is so important. But you have to remember why you started. And you have to remember that if people don't support you, it's fine. Keep going. Keep going.
That's real. And Nia, let me tell you this. For y'all to have just started the podcast, be at 62 subs is a big accomplishment, because I've seen platforms, they're in year 4 at 50 and celebrating just to have 50 subs. So I'm telling you, y'all keep pushing. I'm telling you.
And congratulate yourself. Like, congratulate. It may not be like the big, I think that's something too. There you go. And I think that people forget that too, Caleb, is just that you think, because, okay, I have 6,000 followers on Instagram and I have 5,000 followers on Twitter. Okay. So, you know, if you see that following, you would think, oh yeah, they probably got 200 subscribers. Da, 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 da. You can't get caught up in that.
Mm.
You can't get caught up in that. And I think that, you know, again, people forget that. And they think that, oh, if I start a podcast today, all my 6,000 followers are going to go follow my
Nope.
podcast page. And they don't. And that's
Nope.
okay. That's okay. But you can't go into it thinking that you're about to have 1 million subscribers just because, you know, you just started a podcast. It just doesn't work that way.
And Nia, let me tell you this. For y'all, it's only a matter of time because Symone Stanley, which I think who you already know.
Yeah.
Symone, I remember seeing Symone's podcast, and I was on her podcast, I think, back in August.
Okay.
And Symone was like at 200 subs. I'm not lying to you.
Yeah.
And now she's at 1.3K.
Yes.
Her page, it got monetized. Her most recent video got 20K views.
Yes.
One before that got 14K views.
Yes.
And all it takes is just being consistent because she's posting every single week.
Yes.
And for anybody who's watching this, like, just be consistent because when that one video pops, you have 50 some odd other episodes that they're going to watch, and that watch time is going to go up, the YouTube money, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's only a matter of time for y'all.
Yeah.
And Nia, you are a businesswoman, entrepreneur as well. I mean, all the accolades, like, they just keep going. What inspired you to say, yo, I want to start my own media company?
Look, I want to create spaces for Black people to be themselves. I want to create spaces where, you know, we're not begging for a seat at the table. There's already a table set for you here. And so, you know, of course, I have a long way to go, but I want to get to the point where I'm able to pay people for their creative stuff because Black people, our whole culture is taken away from us day in and day out. We sacrifice our time, our health, our spirit, our creativity. We sacrifice so much to put in for these other companies who may not even care about us as individuals. And so, you know, going off of my personal experience of just feeling like a filler, feeling like just another number to them. I don't want to feel like that. And I don't want other people to feel like that around me. And this year, let alone, of course, 2020 has been such a powerful year, a year of conversations that have needed to be had for God, however long, you know, but it just added more fuel to my fire. Like, look, I don't want another Black woman, like another young Black woman that's behind me in the next 20 years. I don't want her going through her not getting a job because of the color of her skin, her not getting a job because she doesn't have blonde hair and her daddy is not a CEO or an executive of the company. I want this Black woman or this Black young man to be hired and be on my team because he's creative, because they work hard, because they're good people, and because they are passionate about what they do. And I'm passionate as hell about what I do. And I want to be able to create spaces for everyone else around me that want to do the same thing. So I'm going to keep going. I mean, I'm just starting, but you know what? I'm going to keep going. I'm still figuring it out. I got a docuseries that I just produced and directed.
I'm excited to see that too.
Yes, it will be dropping January 2021. It's called Athletes in Color. Basically, in this docuseries, I've interviewed different athletes that went to HBCUs, PWIs. Some may play professionally, some may don't. But, you know, society is so good about categorizing athletes of color. And thinking that, oh, well, you know, they play basketball and they're not doing this, they're not going to do that after they get done playing. But each person that I've interviewed, whether they have a job, they're an entrepreneur, or maybe they're still trying to figure things out. I have those different kind of people. Each and every episode, you learn something new and you change your perspective about how you think. So if more of us, more Black creatives can create these spaces and make and be the voices of those who may not want to be heard or aren't heard, it will change society about how they view us as African American people of color. So Nia Symone Productions, we on the way. That's up next. That's my next monster that I'm really, really focusing on in 2021, is getting that off the ground and really just short films. I want to do short films. I want to do, you know, of course, a long-term documentary. I want to do so many different things, but that's on the way. It's definitely on the way.
Nia, I'm not lying to you. This is like by far one of my favorite interviews ever.
Oh,
like for real, because this is some good conversation right here. Because this is needed. I love this, Nia, and especially seeing Black women in media. Because me and Sid, we have these talks all the time, where she'll even tell me like, yo, I don't think it's enough Black women in media. And what you are doing, you're exposing Black women to another job field that they had no idea about. So that's huge. And the docuseries, that's dope. I've been watching your stories, your posts. I saw Jada working with you as well.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
What has that whole experience been like to have an idea? And I think people don't understand this. If you film a documentary, docuseries, you have a list of people who you want to interview, and it's hard trying to get each person to sit down, talk with you, and especially during COVID. So what was that whole experience like?
Yeah, so thankfully, shout out to my guy Khalil Studio, Real Deal Khalil Studios, Productions, I'm sorry. And I've had this idea for a minute, and I'm like, why don't I have a studio space now. I got connected with my camera guy, my light guy, shout out to Dexter Davis. But it was cool because it was only like no more than 2 or 3 people. It was me, my camera guy, and Khalil. That's it. And of course, I talked to every single person. I had already put the post on Instagram. I had so many people DM me and text me that they wanted to be a part. And of course, like, I could only limit it to a certain amount of people for the simple fact that we are in the middle of a pandemic, and I kind of wanted to get this done and over with, start post-production, have it out by 2021. And so it's been fun, of course, come in with your mask, all that good stuff. But every single athlete that I had on was incredible. I learned something new. And that's the beautiful thing about being a storyteller, is that it's not about you. You're learning about other people that you would never even envision. I mean, some stories that were shared, I'm like, wow, like I would never know. And so, yeah, like, it was beautiful. I'm so excited for season 2. Like, I cannot wait for spring to roll around. I'll start out with season 2 once my 13 weeks of, I'm dropping an episode every week, basically. So I have about 12, 13 episodes to drop. But yeah, no, it's been amazing. I'm so excited for post-production. We're supposed to be starting that next week. So yeah.
Nia's in her bag right now. I love it. And I know about that feeling of when you have something fire and you want to release it, but it's like, I got to hold on to it.
Got to hold on.
You are talking about something that I don't even think that you even know that you're talking about. It is planning out content. And I think that people don't know how to strategize content properly, with maybe just trying to drop everything at one time, or not knowing I should probably wait to post this, and how I'm going to post it, how I'm going to promo it. How you said, I'm about to drop one every single week. Average person, they would have dropped all 12 episodes. And like, here you go. So what is the importance of planning out your content?
So you always have to have people like looking forward to something to look forward to. Because if you give it all away, then people are like, oh yeah, I already know this is going to happen. And nobody's going to take the time to watch your stuff. So you just have to remember to plan accordingly. Like, don't drop nothing on a holiday, because everybody posting their holiday pictures. Ain't nobody gonna see your stuff.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of us are so excited. We get so excited that we want everybody to see everything at once, and you can't do that. So you just gotta remember, like, hey, like, okay, well, I'm gonna drop this today and probably drop episode 2 next week, or whatever it is. But you have to plan, because when you put everything out, then everybody is like, okay, when's season 2 happening? If I was
already ready for the next one,
you know what I'm saying? If I was to drop
just
all
like
episodes
Netflix
today, then what? Y'all ain't got nothing to look forward to. Like, oh, I can't wait for next week. I want to see who's on next week. Like, that is what is going to get it going. When you watch your favorite show, that may come on cable.
Snowfall.
There you go, Snowfall.
You know the vibes.
Oh, I cannot wait for it to come back. 2021, come on. But like, I'm like, okay, what's happening next with Franklin? Like, I'm waiting for next, what days does it come out? Sundays or every Sunday. I'm like, okay, what's up? Like, I'm ready for next Sunday. And I ain't even got out of this Sunday, but I'm ready for next Sunday. So you just always want to keep people in, you know, like I get it. We're so excited. We want to put out all our content at once, but it doesn't work that way.
Mm, love that. So I'll say this then, Nia, or answer this question then.
Yeah, sure.
What would you say is your biggest pet peeve with content creators right now who are our age?
Not original.
Dang.
Everybody's trying to be like everybody.
You cutting deep.
Everybody wants to be like everybody, and we cannot do that, because if so-and-so done went and shot, let's say Mikey Williams, okay?
Yeah.
Let's use him for example. If somebody say, okay, I'm going to go see Mikey Williams, you know, he's hooping at this tournament, blah, 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 blah. Oh, Mikey Williams got on these new shoes. Let me get these new shoes. Everybody else see the new shoes too. So of course you're going to get the new shoes. And so it's kind of like everybody just kind of trying to jack from each other. And it's okay to get ideas from other people. I'm not saying don't do that. But it's about, okay, Mikey Williams got those new shoes. What's a deeper story of him wearing those shoes to make you stand out? Because everybody's going to post a picture of Mikey's shoes. Mikey wore these shoes today because, you know, someone donated it to him. Cancer, or he's donating these shoes to a cancer survivor in a hospital. So you go deeper with the story, but people don't want to do that now. You know what they want to do? Likes and comments. Ooh, you got a picture of Mikey Williams in his shoes. Okay, that's it. That's all you can say is that I got a picture of Mikey Williams with his shoes, instead of saying, oh, Mikey Williams, yes, his shoes are dope. And guess what he's doing next after he gets done playing this game? After he's dropped 65 points. Let's just say he dropped 65 points. And he's donating it to a cancer survivor here in Atlanta at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, or the Cancer Center, or wherever he's donating it at, you know? So you go deeper with the story, but people don't want to do that. People are lazy. People want clout at that moment. No, it's just no original, nothing.
I'm getting mad just by you even using that example, because I think for people like yourself who put in a lot of work, it's very insulting to see people try to take shortcuts. And then sometimes those same people do get the clout before you. They might get more views than you at the time. So for young journalists like ourselves who may see people doing ignorant stuff, but that get the views and stuff, and then, you know, you could say, yo, I'm out here posting consistent content, it's quality content, and it's not growing yet. What words of advice would you have for people?
Look, stay patient. As we said earlier, trust the process. Stop comparing yourself. Stop it. If you have to mute somebody, like, and sometimes it be no shade. I have to mute some people. No shade. I respect and love what everyone does, but sometimes I have to mute people, or sometimes I have to like literally get off of social media, because we get in our own minds about comparing ourselves. Comparison. And you have to stay patient, and you have to stay focused, and you have to remember, I'm in my own lane.
Right.
Ava DuVernay, when you're in your own lane, there is no traffic. That is my favorite quote by her.
The bar. She got the peach pads.
Man, what? That's my favorite quote by her. Because seriously, when you're in your own lane, nobody's in your way, because it's your world. And I think that is what's helped me a lot, is that I am in my own lane. And I always tell myself that, like, girl, look, and applaud people. Applaud people.
That's another thing. Hey, support is free. Support
is so free. Because, and it's crazy, I was just telling one of my friends this, one of my good friends just got a really, really good job. And, you know, we were on the phone yesterday, and we were talking about, like, it's okay if it's not your season. It's all right. Because guess what? Your season could be tomorrow. Your season could be next week. Your season could be next month. But if you sitting there hating, you angry at everybody because your season ain't right now, you're not going to get everything that should be coming to you, everything that you deserve.
Wow.
Because it's not your season. So you got to wait. So applaud people. You stay patient, and you keep working. Keep your head down and keep going. Stay focused. Remember why you did this. And remember, your season is coming. You're going to have some good seasons. You're going to have some bad seasons. That's okay. You learn from each season, good or bad.
Yeah.
And you grow.
3 Milli Pod Fam, are you interested in earning passive income in 2021? It's a new year, new goals. If so, I highly suggest that you should reach out to the friend of our show, Hannah Jonathan, CEO of eBook Empires. Through her business, she's been able to help countless people who have lost their job during the pandemic. She did as well, but fortunately, through this business, she's been able to generate passive income. With Hannah's help, you can start your online business by selling ebooks and other digital products for under $20. Thanks to eBook Empire, you will be supplied with private label rights and digital products that you can rebrand and claim authorship. All you have to do is just license it, name yourself as the author, and sell it at your own price. And also make sure to check out her website, www.ebookempireplr.com. Once again, www.ebookempireplr.com. This is a must do. Support the business eBook Empire. Much love to Hannah, and it's only the beginning. Let's get back to the show.
Nia going on. Yeah, this is really an amazing conversation because I feel that. I feel that so much because I remember I tore my Achilles actually last year during this month. And I remember I was laying in the bed all day, you know, on Oxycontin, on the pills, like feeling like Future pretty much just out of it. And what was crazy was what you said is your season, it might not be right now, but it's coming. And I remember I was laying in the bed and it's a football player. His name is Joe Anderson. And he tried out. He went to the CFL, NFL, and he was saying this, and I remember laying in the bed, that if you go to the Bible, David had to go through so much before he became king. He was running for his life. He had to protect himself. He had to find soldiers who would rock with him. He had people trying to behead him. He had enemies from his own family. But by him going through those trials and tribulations, when he became king, he was ready. And one could possibly argue that if he became king after Goliath and everybody was, you know, stroking his ego, he would just be just crazy because he would be full of himself. So for yourself, you know, suffering from PTSD, going through that, playing basketball, transitioning, and now doing what you're doing, how has those trials and tribulations shaped you and prepared you?
It's made me who I am today. You know, like, how am I going to be an influencer? How am I going to be a journalist or a storyteller if I don't have a testimony to share with anybody? Because if you tell people, yeah, you know, my life was just so go lucky and it was just this and it was that and I did this and I did that, but you don't ever tell anybody about, you know, what if there was a night where, you know, what's a good example? What if there was a night you had $1 in your damn checking account? Excuse me, in your dang on checking account.
Nah, hey, you good, Nia? Hey, be yourself.
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it.
Good. You good.
But, you know, we don't want to talk about the nights where, you know, I'm in college. You know, I just got out of practice at 12 o'clock in the morning. Yes, we used to get out of practice that late sometimes. Yes. You're hungry. The cap is closed.
Yep.
You ain't got no money.
Got them noodles.
You got hella homework. And so, and then the next day you got to get up and do the same thing again. And it's just like, if you don't have those humbling experiences, how do you expect the next generation to be even better than what you are? How? If you tell people, if you make it just seem like everything was just so flowers and rose petals, when you meet me, I always got a story to tell you. Always. Because honestly, there are moments where I felt like I was never going to get out of a dark time.
Feel that.
I pulled myself out of it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be here today if I didn't. So you have to have a story to share with people because you just never know what people are going through. You never know, somebody might need that push or that motivation. You know, there are people could be homeless, don't have nothing, but you would never know. So you have to share those stories to let people know. And that's one thing about me is that I'm very private, but you know, if you sit down and we talk, like I'm real, I'm raw. I let you know, like, you know, because we can get on Instagram. I can get on your Instagram and I can just be thinking this whole thing about you. Oh, Caleb's so perfect. Oh, Caleb has this. Caleb has that. I don't know what Caleb did to get this.
I'm a regular Negro at the end of the day.
You know what I'm saying?
I promise you.
You know, so like that's real because I know like it's easy to assume about people until you get to know them. So, and I hope this interview has showed that like, hey, like this is the real raw Nia. Like this is me 100%, I will tell you how it is. Everything ain't rose petals. Yes, I interview so-and-so. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. But you don't know what I did to get here. You don't know how hard I worked. You don't know how many times I've cried myself to sleep. You don't know how much sacrifices I had to make to get to where I am. And I'm not even where I want to be yet. I'm just at my
Just
peak.
to get to this point.
Just
That's
to get
crazy.
to this point. I'm not even where I want to go yet.
Wow.
But people don't take the time to know that. You want to know why? Because we don't have conversations. We just assume.
And what happens when you assume? What's the first 3 letters?
There you go. Okay.
That's crazy because, Nia, even in this conversation, like, it feels like I know you on a different level now because I never knew any of this. And that is why I love doing podcasts. That's why I love chopping it up with people, because you get to learn something every single time. And speaking on seasons, Nia, I think this was back in August when I saw that you got the job at Overtime. That was hard. Like, I was so excited for you because you already know, watching sports, Overtime is a big brand. Bleacher Report, all this stuff is huge. And then a few months later, you turn up even more. CNN as well. That's crazy because from somebody going to Georgia State, me and Sheely, we used to have class over there, and knowing that you are connected to that building, which has so much prestige, is a huge accomplishment, Nia. Don't ever overlook that. And you did this during a pandemic on top of that. My girl got 2 jobs during a pandemic in media. How did those moments feel for yourself?
Oh my God. You know, when it happens in that moment, you're just like,
numb to it, huh?
Yeah. And I had to remember, I talked about this with my therapist, is because, you know, I think for me, kind of growing up, you know, of course, going back to basketball, where you can't show any emotions. You don't know, like, you can't really applaud. Like, you get a play, like, you want to be like, And so for the longest, my whole life, it's just been like, oh, well, that's what I'm supposed to do. My mom used to always say, like, I used to ask her, I'm like, you know what? All these bad kids in my school got these nice Jordans, and they got this.
They getting everything.
You know, like, I remember, I think it was like 7th or 8th grade, whenever the Griffies came out, I never had a pair of Griffies, and I wanted a pair of Griffies so bad. I'm like, Mom, I got A's. I have never gotten a C before.
Wow.
Never.
Wow.
I'm in school. I'm playing basketball. I ain't never been suspended. None of that. Why can I get the stuff that the other kids got? These bad kids got this stuff. Well, that's what you're supposed to do. So I kind of had that mindset where it's like, well, that's what I'm supposed to do. And I talked to my therapist about this, and she's like, girl, no, like, do you not know how hard it is to do this stuff? And I'm like, me? Like, for real? Wow. You know, I learned to applaud myself, and I'm still learning. I'm still, like, you know, my best friend the other day, yesterday, I was on FaceTime with her, and she's like, she saw that, you know, I had Rondo and Clint Capella on my story, and she's like, girl, I just talked to you. Why didn't you tell me about your interview? And I'm like, I don't know, like,
it's regular.
It's just regular. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. But I have to remember, like, everything that I've been blessed with is because of God, because of me, you know, praying the long nights, the early mornings. My support system is crazy. You know, I have a prayerful mother. I really, really do. And so I've had so many people around me, so many angels, so many people looking over me. And so it's only right that I do what I'm supposed to do. But I have to remember also to applaud myself, and I'm still working on it. I'm not the best at it. But I don't know. Like, it just felt surreal. Like, wow, like, this is really happening. Like, I really did this. I did this. Nobody did this for me.
Nobody put you on.
Nobody put me on. This was all me. All me. I was freelancing for these people, and I got furloughed. So, you know, I had to remember that. Applaud yourself. So I'm working on it.
Yes, man. Yeah, one of my last few questions, because you've given me over an hour of your time, so thank you so very much.
Oh, I ain't done nothing.
You talked about your relationship with God, and that's such a big thing because that's what keeps us going. So how do you make sure that you stay connected? I remember last night, you know, Sheely, he was saying that sometimes once things start going right, we can stop praying sometimes. So how do you stay connected with God?
And see, I keep that in the back of my mind always, because we have to remember that, you know, life, we kind of suffer in life. Like, life is never just perfect. it's just impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible. And so when you keep God first through anything that you do, you will be successful. Period.
Mm.
Period. You know, I'm not like every Sunday I don't go to church every Sunday. But what I do is every morning I get up, or if at least I'm in a shower, if I'm in a car, I have quiet time. I talk to God. I just have conversations with him. I just talk. I vent, I release, you know? But I keep the faith. I keep the faith. I stay prayed up. I pray for any and everyone around me. I don't pray for just myself. I pray for any and everybody around me. And I don't just, when I pray, I don't pray to God and say, God, I really need this job. You don't ever do that. Say, God, make sure you guide me in the right direction. I always ask him for guidance. First of all, I'm sorry. I start off by thanking him, because I thank God, and let me just knock on wood right now. I don't have COVID. My family has never had COVID. Prayers to anyone who has dealt with it or has lost someone. I'm just thankful. And sometimes we can forget how thankful we are. We can forget because we go through life and we forget that anything can happen at any moment. And so I thank him for health. I thank him for life. I thank him for my family. I thank him for everything around me. And then, you know, if there is an opportunity, somebody emails me, or somebody, you know, says, hey, there's this other job, or there's this, there's that. I always pray and I ask him to guide me, to make sure I'm making the right decision. And if it's not for me, God, make sure you let me know. So key. You got to. You don't ever just say, I got a new job, let me go pray. Dear God, I pray that I get this job. No. You say, first of all, thank you for this opportunity. And then you just talk to him. You just be real. You be you. Like, I literally sit and have a conversation with him, you know? And I thank him and ask for guidance, and I keep faith always and forever.
Nia, I'm not lying to you, for real. This was such a powerful conversation, because I feel like having a chance to chop it up with people like yourself and Sheely is so refreshing, because for once it's not about entrepreneurship, it's not about business, not about creativity, it's just about people who's just like us, same age, walk like us, talk like us, and just chopping it up. So that's what I truly cannot say thank you enough for giving me your time. Being yourself, being open, vulnerable, all those things are very, very hard to do. So thank you. Nia, before we bounce, my very last question. Where do you see yourself within the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh, and you asked him this yesterday, and I was like, oh, he's going to ask me this. I'm not going to know.
I am.
You know, it's funny you asked that, because I think years ago, when I was just so young, so naive, you know, I'm like, well, I'm going to be on ESPN, and I'm going to be sideline reporting, I'm going to be commentating for the WNBA. You know, I just got everything planned out. Of course, that's still the goal. Still want to work in women's basketball. Still want to do sports media. But I'm going to tell you this, Caleb. Where I see myself in the next 5 to 10 years is happy, joyful, living life, healthy, full of love, you know, and wherever God wants me to be. That's just where I'm at. Wherever he wants me to be, whatever is my purpose, walking into my purpose. That's where I'm going with this. Walking into my purpose. My name means purpose. And so when I hear that word, when I hear the word purpose, when I hear it, it's just like, I think of me. And this year, let alone, I've just been asking, like, what's my purpose? Guide me to my purpose. So I think in the next 5 to 10 years, I'll be in my purpose. I'll be where God wants me to be, and I'll be happy and full of love, and hopefully married and all that other good stuff, you know.
Like brown sugar.
You know, having my own family one day, like that's where I see myself, and just enjoying life, man. Just living. Because again, it's too short, way too short, and you never know. So, you know, just walking in my purpose.
Nia, I'm telling you, like, you have such a special calling on your life. This interview, I'm telling you, you've giving us so many gems. Like, this has been amazing, outstanding. And you already know the protocol. This will be posted on YouTube. I have clips for it.
Yeah.
I'll share it with you. And as well, Nia, anytime, hit me up, because you filming, talking about short film. That's something I want to get into. I've been trying to find people to like connect with.
Yes.
So you saying that, I'm only a text message away, vice versa. I got you, for real, Nia. Keep doing what you're doing. It's much needed.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You got it.
Amazing talking to you.
Likewise. Enjoy your weekend and have a great night.
All right.
Thank you, Nia.
Thanks for having me.